Hello and welcome at the Chess Steps demo lesson step 4. Today's lesson is about the magnet, and it's one of my favorite lessons because the magnet is an attacking technique which in my opinion perfectly demonstrates why chess is the best game out there. And the prior knowledge necessary for this topic would be mostly to familiarize yourself with mating patterns that were covered in the first 3 steps. Because without those, it's impossible for you to fully grasp and recognize this technique. So practice mating techniques and mating patterns. Let me start by asking you a question. What does a magnet do in everyday life? Well, if you've watched a lot of cartoons, like I used to do and still sometimes do, you would remember, for instance, Wile E. Coyote always using a huge magnet to, in some way, capture the Roadrunner. But he would always attract metal objects that he didn't want to attract, like huge bombs and stuff like that. And he would always end up hurt himself. Because that is what a magnet does. It attracts metal objects whether they want to or not. They've got no say in it. They are drawn towards the magnet. In chess, it's no different. A magnet in chess draws the king of the opponent to a square where it doesn't want to go. And the opposing king has no say in it. A check is given, and the opposing king has no option but to capture the piece that's giving check, the sacrifice, the magnet, and after that it's vulnerable to a decisive attack. If we would, for instance, look at this position, we would see that black is in trouble, but if white would be too eager, giving check on h7, we would see black miraculously escaping. So that doesn't work. But we can use a magnet. We can draw the king on g8 to a square where it doesn't want to go. And we do that by sacrificing our rook. In this case, the rook is our magnet, giving check on h8. Black has no option but to take, and suddenly moving our queen to h7 results in mate. Really nice, right? I told you it would be. So what a magnet does, it makes it possible for our attacking pieces to participate with gain of tempo. It gains us time. It doesn't allow our opponent to make another move because we're in charge. And we'll see why that is important in this example, for instance. White move, and white has a nice combination at its disposal, and it's a magnet again. It can sacrifice its rook on a8, and if black captures and he has no other option, white can, with gain of tempo, with check, get his queen in play and mate on a6. However, let's assume white doesn't have me as a teacher and he would not know about the magnet, and he would move his queen to a4, which seems like a decent move because the queen starts participating on the a file and perhaps we can mate. However, black, his opponent, does know about the magnet and knows how to successfully apply it. Black sacrifices its rook. White has no option but to take, and now with gain of tempo, white is not allowed to do anything. The black queen starts to participate. And as we can see, it results in mate. So this is a perfect example why gain of tempo can be crucial for the outcome of a game. And knowing and being able to successfully apply the technique of the magnet will save you some points. Let's go to the next example. Right here. White to move, and it has the option of magnet again. And if you're familiar with mating techniques, like I am, because I've been mated a lot of times, you would see that pawn on f6 creates an interesting team, a mate on the back rank. And it works if we sacrifice our queen, because suddenly the rook and the pawns perfectly cover all the escaping squares for the king. And there was no option for black to refuse, because if he would have refused our sacrifice, he would be mated as well. And let's for instance say that white isn't familiar with the magnet, and it would, well, let's make a useless move. Move his rook to e8, threatening to play a rook e8 and then putting his queen on f8 as well. he would allow black an extra move, and that extra move is decisive for the outcome of the game because black beautifully sacrifices a rook. The rook is the magnet. The white king is attracted whether it wants to or not, and now our knight starts participating with gain of tempo. And I love it when a plan comes together. A beautiful mate on b1. It's like watching at a Swiss watch. It's perfect. So gain of tempo, people. Gain of tempo can win you games. In this example, gain of tempo is important as well. If we would take the slow route, white would escape to safety. And now we're not gonna mate him, even though his position on b2 is vulnerable. However, if we use a magnet, we're sacrificing our rook, and refusal would lead to mate, so that's no option. We're sacrificing our rook, and once it captures, it allows us to bring our queen into play and mate white. And notice how the white pieces are working against the white king, and that is a theme that you will see more often in magnet combination. And it's the same here. The black king seems safely tucked away at h7, but we lure it out in the open with our magnet. Refusal again would lead to a familiar mating pattern, so that's no option. So black captures, and now it's in front of its own pawns, and that's no good because it takes away escape squares, and f5 leads to mate. Oh, really nice. I could look at this all day. Important to know is that magnet technique often combines well with other techniques you know and other themes you know, and especially the pin especially the pin combines well with the magnet. As you can see here, the king is on a7, safely behind its own pawns, but white sacrifices a rook. It's a magnet. He needs to capture, and suddenly we have a pin here, and the pawn on b7 is pinned. And as we have learned in step 3, a pinned piece is a terrible defender. It doesn't defend at all, actually, because now black cannot recapture, needs to move his king, we have mate. So a pin and a magnet work well. And it's the same here. White is threatening mate on g7. So black has no time to waste, and he doesn't. He sacrifices the rook on h1. If white would capture with the knight, it would lead to queen g2 mate, so that's no option. So we're going to capture with our king, but now we have the option of queen h3, and because of the pin, it works. Really nice. Really, really nice. Next example. In this example, white can promote, and he could choose a queen, but then he would run into rook a8, and after that he would soon be mated himself. And this is going sour real bad. Let me see if I already have them. If I already can see the mate. Well, even if I don't see a mate, I can capture the bishop on a5, and instead of winning, white would be losing. So promoting to a queen doesn't work here. And promoting to a knight with check, which seems gain of tempo, doesn't work either, because then we simply move to b8. And the game is basically finished as well. But we've got the beautiful move, bishop b6. Now if we move to the back rank, promoting to a queen actually does lead to mate. So we need to take. And now the king is in front of its own pawns again. And that's no good, as we have learned. Check, promoting with our pawn by gain of tempo. And we finish the game off beautifully with b4. Beautiful combination. Gain of tempo. Let's look at another example. And this is the first example in our workbook. And again, to spot a magnet combination, you need to look at the possible escape squares of the opposing king. And you need to see how you can bring your pieces into play with gain of tempo. And remember that a magnet always combines well with other teams, like the pin. In this specific position, it's white to move. And if white doesn't act quick, he's gonna be mated. He's behind a lot of material and his king is in the middle, so things seem to go sour. However, he has a beautiful combination. Do you see it? It is the sacrifices of all sacrifices. It's a queen sacrifice. Black has no option but to take, and now we gain off tempo. Our rook comes into play. And now there are almost no escape squares left for the black king, except c6. But we take that away as well and finish off the game with mate. Well, I really enjoyed watching at these examples and giving these lessons. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I hope you learned to successfully apply the magnet yourself. And perhaps see you at the next video. Thank you for watching.